Hi everyone, so I thought I'd do a series book review even though it's only 2 books because I finally got the first book back so I can show it to you, and it is Wildwood Dancing by Juliet Marillier and its continuation / sequel, Cybel's Secret. And yes, the covers are gorgeous, but I'm going to speak of that later. So, this book here deals with, it's kind of a retelling of the, is it the 12 Dancing Princesses, or are there 7 of them? Either way, it's that fairy tale, and there are 5 sisters in this book, and it's set in Romania, and I would assume it's around the early 19th century? Early 19th? That's a guess, they never actually say. But yeah, set in Romania, and the girls live in this abandoned old ruined castle with their dad. Their mum passed away when the final sister was born, and their dad's a merchant, as all great fathers in fairy tales are, and he's fallen on some hard times. He's quite unwell, and the girls for years have had this ability to travel to a mystical realm just out on the other side of a lake in the boundary of their grounds, out the forest surrounding their home. And there's a portal that they discovered, and no one knows how it got there or why they're able to do it, but on every full moon they can travel through across the lake to this mystical realm where vampires exist, there's fairies, there's witches and wizards and gnomes and dwarves and all these creatures and supernatural beings reside there, and they're allowed to spend time with them for that evening and dance with everyone, and the fairy court welcomes them and they have a right old good time, then they go back home. And no one's ever noticed they go either. They keep it very secret. And so they've been doing this for years and years and years, and now we've gotten to the point where the eldest sister, who is Titania, they call her Taddy, I think she would be 19 years old, and this, our protagonist here, this is Jenna, she's the second eldest sister, she's 17, we have Paula, who's the middle sister, I think she's about 12 or 13, and, no, sorry, that's incorrect, there's Julia, who is the middle sister, and she is, she would have to be 14, I think, and then there's Paula, who's 12, then there's Stella, who is 5. And actually in personality they all are quite similar, well, at least the first 4 are very similar to the Bennet sisters in Pride and Prejudice, so you will see definite elements of Jane Bennet in Tatty, certainly lots and lots of Elizabeth Bennet in Jenna, tons of Lydia and Kitty in Julia, and certainly Paula is Mary, but Paula gets her comeuppance, she gets her own book here. That's cool. Yeah, so that element, I like, that little literature parallel was really cool to pick up on. I mean, it, you know, I don't know if it was intentional, but it was something that occurred to me. I'm like, but yeah, the writing style in this is really beautiful, and the description is great. I really loved Jenna, her narrative voice, because it's told from her perspective. There's romance in there. It's never too heavy-handed though. There's also quite a lot of power struggle from a lot of different fields, but Jenna has a lot of stuff she's pushing for throughout the book. There's really interesting takes on standard mythology that we, you know, kind of presume we know about. So because it has the Romanian slant, everything's a bit different, and things aren't as clearly defined for the girls. So like the vampires have different names, and there's just different terms that are used. It's interesting. It feels quite refreshing to read about. And it's quite bittersweet too. There's quite a really sad storyline in the end that actually had me crying, even though it's sort of happy. And it ends on some ambiguous notes, a lot's left unfinished, so you really do actually want a sequel quite desperately. So when we get to Cybel's Secret, you think, oh good, we're getting answers, but this is set at least, I think it's at least 5 years on, and we follow Paula, who is the Mary Bennet. She's the scholastic, education-minded, kind of introverted, quiet sister. It's quite serious, and she is now, I think she's now 17 years old, So it's several years on from when this took place. And we do get to find out through Paula what has happened to her other sisters and stuff, to an extent. But this very much concerns her journey with her father, who's a merchant. They go to Istanbul to deal with trading artifacts and things. And so Paula's very interested in that, and she helps her father out with his business, so she travels with him. And lots of stuff ensues on the voyage there, and when they get there, and it's a different culture, she's meeting all different people. There's a love triangle, which is actually interesting and held my attention, and I actually cared about it. The two men involved are very sincere and unique in their own right, and I liked reading about them, and I liked their relationships with Paula too. I thought they were good. There's lots of discussion of, I'll say, women's rights insofar as they existed back then, the place of women in society depending on culture and on your perspective, on your social class. Lots of different debates that Paula's really passionate about, so of course I loved her as a protagonist. I thought she was great. And then there's this underlying mystery that keeps going on, and it fortunately does link back into some lingering questions from this one. So we get some answers and stuff, but it's still upsetting in the end, because you're frustrated and you're thinking, I was so because you still don't exactly get closure. So yeah, I was still sad when I finished this one. Maybe there's a third, but I doubt it. I mean, it could be another one, I have no idea. So yeah, but I loved both these books, I really did. And as I mentioned before, the covers are absolutely stunning, but I can't even tell you how important and significant all of that detail is on the covers. Throughout the books I would keep going back to these covers to look for different things, because characters and places and objects, so much is given away on these covers that you don't realise till you're reading, and you can go back and see a visual representation. So it's actually really cool. You can see what they imagined these characters really looked like. So I loved it, and I think they're just beautifully drawn too. So yeah, really, really good books. I would give this one 4 stars out of 5, very solid 4 stars, and this one would actually get 4.5 stars out of 5. And I love Juliet Marillier's writing and her take on these retellings, and yeah, just go read them. Wildwood Dancing and Cybel's Secret by Juliet Marillier.